Thank you for joining me for what I'm more or less calling my story/spoiler run through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is your warning that from this point forward, this video and all of the videos in this series are full of spoilers and speculation for the complete story in Rebirth, so everything we're given in-game. It will be looking at ideas and elements from Remake, as well as the original Final Fantasy VII, start to finish, so including beyond where we are in the story, the whole story start to finish of OG7. It will be incorporating ideas and plot elements from the books, On the Way to a Smile, The Kids Are All Right, Tale of Two Pasts. It will probably come up once or twice discussing Advent Children, the movie, and I will give you fair warning, it is such a convoluted story, and going back through it for how many times I've watched other people play, I've watched my play, I've recorded these videos, as many times as I've gone through it, there's always new ideas and thoughts that I have while doing stuff, so you'll see little interruptions occasionally throughout the video, like this! And those are just, during the editing process, something I forgot to mention. I came in and thought of it, and so added it in after fact. So if those are annoying, sorry, but it is what it is. So I want these to generate discussion. I want to hear your thoughts, so please join me in the comments. Tell me things that maybe I missed. If you see something you missed, let me know. If you think I'm wrong about something, please. If you think I'm going off into crazy town, if you think I'm on the right track, great, let's talk about it. Maybe discussion will raise some more ideas. Anyway, without further ado, thank you for joining me. I love this game. Hopefully you do too, so let's get into it. And I'm back. Hopefully you're still here. Okay. Just failed this trial. Yeah, alright. Reorienting my brain here for a new day. Just notice the name of this place, the Spiral of Rebirth. I find that amusing only because of the long purported and sort of confirmed connection between FF7 and FF10 with Spira, and the spiral of life and death and rebirth, but specifically of death in Spira, which was the cycle of sin. And in FFX2, there was the character whose name was Shinra, and so the conspiracy theory, fan theory, whatever, was that Shinra ended up in this world, and if you go to the hall in Midgar where you're learning about all the history of Shinra and Midgar and President Shinra, there's a photo on the wall with a character wearing a mask who looks just like the kid Shinra from FFX2. And so it was sort of a nod to that conspiracy, and I don't remember whether someone officially confirmed it was true. It's a ridiculous thing one way or the other. I just find it now we have the spiral of rebirth, so it's sort of combining the two ideas of this game and that game. I just thought it was interesting. Probably doesn't mean anything. Okay, and thus begins the lore dump of the Temple of Ancients. Now, I guarantee I've gotten several things wrong as I've been going through these explanations and replaying this game, and I may get some of this wrong as I go in here, so by all means, if I still get something wrong as I'm talking through some of this stuff, let me know in the comments. But because as I said at the beginning of every single video, this game is convoluted as hell. And it's hard to keep it all straight.
Gramps would kill to see this.
So you can see on the side there the images of humans wearing armor and weapons attacking this image of the temple. And then, of course, they give us this, but... I'm sure any resemblance to the characters portrayed in Loveless is purely coincidental in those warriors there. And the fact that there are 3 of them.
You who walk in the footsteps of we who dwell in eternity. Listen well, for dusk is falling on the age of our people, the Cetra. And in the long night to come, others shall rise to claim stewardship of this planet. Others who pay no heed to history.
Something that I didn't really appreciate or understand previously before I started looking stuff up is that the Cetrans were migratory. They wandered around the planet. Basically, they would go to a place, they would settle, they would increase the life of the place, and sort of bring life stream to the surface in some cases to make it a viable, habitable place, and then they would move on, and they would just follow maybe surges in the life stream, but they were migratory. The Cetrans who stayed in one place to settle and live there permanently became the humans. So humans are arguably the descendants of the Cetrans, which would explain why, for instance, Aerith is possible. Genetically, I mean. But what it doesn't explain is why they are different species, literally. Because Cetrans have this mystical power and magic abilities inherent in them, and we've seen Aerith have some pretty cool abilities built into her. But just by staying in one place, it's not like they devolved necessarily. It doesn't really explain how they became essentially a separate species from the Cetrans, and yet still able to, crossbreed essentially. I also said in previous videos somewhere that I think that I had assumed that if Falna was descended along the lines of the Cetrans, and that maybe her blood was not pure Cetran, and so I mean, Aerith wasn't half human, half Cetran. She was some other dilution. And having looked into it, it says that Afalna is the last full-blooded Cetran. So apparently, enough Cetrans survived Jenova to keep the species going for 2,000 years, and then it just slowly dwindled and dwindled and dwindled until Ifalna is the only known Cetran left. I don't think there's any lore anywhere else that indicates another Cetran survived. I don't think I've ever seen or heard of it in any game or book, so unless we hear otherwise, we can assume that Ifalna was the last full-blooded Cetran, and Aerith is half human, half Cetran. Actually. So, getting that wrong, I apologize for getting that one wrong. I want to take a look around here, and if there's anything interesting, I'll point it out. The temple just looks weird, to be honest. So here we have the robed magic users as the Cetrans, defending the temple and fighting back. You don't really... It's hard to see the detail on the wall, so you don't really appreciate it unless you stop and zoom in like that. Now, one thing that someone said that they noticed somewhere down here was images that looked like the Shadowblood Queen and or the Emerald Witch, so I'm gonna look for those while I'm here. I have not seen them yet, and they didn't have pictures, I think, to demonstrate their claim, but I'll take a look around. I mentioned that during my Shadowblood Queen storyline walkthrough earlier back on the Shinra 8 part of this series. Yeah, I don't see anything else particularly different about any of this. They all look essentially the same.
Though in time we triumphed over the calamity visited upon us by the stars, tragedy would nevertheless be our ultimate reward.
Now it is interesting that they're talking about the calamity now while showing us depictions of the humans attacking the temple. In OG7, the assumption, and I think the understanding of everybody, was basically that Jenova had caused some sort of disease or sickness that infected the Cetrans and killed them off, not that she had incited war among the humans. And that seems to be the story we're getting now, is that first of all, she played the Cetrans against each other until they wised up and started fighting back and, you know, finding a way to prevent that or contain her in some way. Or, you know, it's not 100% clear what was happening between Jenova and the Cetrans at that point. And then the indication seems to be that she managed to turn the humans against the Cetrans, and that seems to tie in with the idea that I explored during the Shadowblood Queen bit, was that she impersonated or otherwise influenced humans to fight among themselves, and that, you know, the realm of the Shadowblood Queen grew in power, etc. Maybe that was the group of humans that turned against the Cetrans here? I don't know. Again, we don't know where these people came from. Just that they're humans who came to fight against the Cetrans because they were jealous, or what other motivations they're ascribing to them here. But it also the fact that the Cetrans refer to the next people who will take over stewardship of the planet without knowing its history are the humans. Cetrans are Cetran because they are in tune with the life stream and in tune with the planet. Humans, having lost the powers of the Cetrans, however that happened, by settling down to live in one place, don't have that same connection with the planet. But theoretically still have, you know, their place in society would be the stewardship of the planet, and are apparently doing a very bad job of it. And of course I'm only referring to the video game, not real life. Same basic pictures. Okay.
For the children of man envied us. Perhaps their enmity was seated by
Yep.
our celestial adversary. None can say.
Yes, it seems the story they're telling us, even if they say none can say.
Abandoned to unquenchable anger and unbearable grief, condemned and driven forth, powerless to forestall the coming of our end.
Looks like the same basic murals we saw before. Alright, here comes another big one. Literally.
Long ago, a wound marred the northern lands. And to mend it did many venture forth, only to meet with disaster.
Now see, these would look like they're humans. The Cetrans don't give an indication that they attacked with swords and shields, and that's the way the humans have been depicted.
Their voices did it sow the seeds of discord among our people, children of man. For the planet did we lay down our lives in battle, and in death returned to her embrace. Yet our adversary did not.
And we've already seen this idea, played out with the Gi. And depending on when the Cetrans encountered the Gi, and I don't remember that we have a clear idea of when that happened. That felt to me like it happened longer than 2,000 years ago, when Jenova dropped. But just from the lore we're getting as far as the Gi coming from another planet, and that they had to get here somehow, and their star subsumed by ours and everything else that I already went over during that section, felt to me like the Gi got here a long frickin' time ago and may not have been immediately present or conscious on the planet, or they may have been, but they had to get here somehow. Their spirits didn't just end up here. Something else tied them to the place, and so my theory, thinking was that it was some form of a meteor, maybe not as cataclysmic as Jenova's arrival, but some physical piece of their planet that ended up here, and that's what they were tied to. It would make sense if Jenova got here first, and they saw how dangerous she was and her inability to die, and then they encountered the Gi, and were like, oh crap, not this again. Not one of these undying things. That would make sense for why they would be against the Gi. But it seems to me that the Gi, the Cetrans were sympathetic for the Gi for a time there. And so I think the Gi had to have happened before Jenova. I don't think that has been specifically addressed. We don't have the time frame, but it feels like the Gi happened longer ago, and either maybe they tried with the Gi first, and maybe Jenova screwed that up. We don't know when things soured between the Cetrans and the Gi either. We don't have a good timeline for that. I just don't know if the relationship between the Gi and the Cetrans is related to or affected by Jenova's arrival, before or after, or at any point in the timeline there, whether she had anything to do with it. I do find it interesting that Jenova's form is humanoid. In what we see of her in Nibelheim, for instance, in the reactor. And yet everywhere else in combat and in everything else we see, she is all tentacly and disgusting and stuff. But okay, let's see here. Maybe this is where the Shadowblood images are supposed to be, because that's certainly something different right there. So now these look like the Cetrans, given the robes, and the humans, given the swords, gathered around this central figure. So now this does look a lot like the Shadowblood Queen. So maybe this is the image that they were referring to. It's, because you see the little bit of the shading over where the eyes are. So that would make sense. I don't know. I don't see anything specifically that ties in beyond the with the face. Does resemble the Shadowblood Queen, so I'll give it that. I'm just a little curious because that staff seems rather prominent, and I don't remember seeing anything quite like that. It looks familiar though, like there's something about it that I cannot place it at all. I'd really like to zoom in way over there, much better. That same sort of appearance as the masked figure back on the wall, although you can't see it as well here, obviously. The staff looks different, but it's that same sort of the headdress that's above it. They couldn't kill it permanently.
In the long silence of its sleep, it was given Jenova. Heed well our warning of that which is to come. The reunion. When our adversaries scattered malignancy shall converge to plague the planet once more.
And so that was the original reunion theory, was just Jenova regathering her cells and herself all into one place to plague the planet again. This game, of course, has expanded that to the reunion of the worlds. So taking it to the next level with Sephiroth's plan. Now that last image there that appeared of the winged woman, awfully reminiscent of Jessie's appearance in Loveless. I don't know if that's supposed to represent the goddess Minerva or a Cetran for some reason. I don't know why they would have wings. It's sort of unclear. My guess would the clearest representation would seem to be Minerva, although very underdressed compared to some other versions of Minerva we've seen, with like who's practically armored. Alright, final bit here, before the demon wall, of course. We see the Gi again. Let's see what it says.
Our sacred duty to protect our planet against any who would threaten it. They who came from the past were one such threat. The Gi, who with bitter prayer forged the Black Materia.
Okay, so we have, that looks like a Gi right there. Maybe these are all Gi within the robes. Not to stereotype, but the hooded cloaks they're wearing. And the interesting the circle behind them. Whether that's supposed to indicate the Black Materia. I, of course, still hold that the Black Materia started out pure, the purest of materia, and it was turned black, that it started out clear. And I went into that already during the Gi section.
So foul was the orb's magic that we knew at once it must be hidden, that none might ever wield its terrible power.
And so I think now we're seeing the other distorted perception of those events. The Cetrans view it just as the Gi made the Black Materia. Their hatred, their darkness in them made the Black Materia. Which is, the physical event is the same, but the how and the why is different from what the Gi told us. And so, what I would suspect with the way it played out is that the Gi got the pure materia from the planet, and with the intent of their intention is just to free themselves. I don't think they set out to destroy the planet to free themselves. They just wanted a way to free themselves, and the planet gave them the clear materia. My question then is, if they had stayed pure in intent and had not gone down the darker path with their intentions and turned inward and loathing and hatred and rancor and all the other negative things that have been associated with them, and from not dying and being stuck here, if they had managed to somehow keep their intentions and their thoughts pure, would that have manifested then more as a version of Holy, of the white materia, and would Holy be a way of freeing the Gi? Because again, it seems awfully limiting for the purpose of this materia to be to summon a giant-ass meteor and smack into the planet. that may be an effect that the Black Materia can have, and it's certainly the one we see played out in FF7, but it seems really weird for that to be the one and only reason this materia exists. Mainly as a counterpoint, the white materia is not a materia whose sole purpose is to counter the black materia. It is a materia of protection, of potentially healing. Like, it's not... It doesn't summon a giant wave of things to deflect giant meteors away from the planet. That is how we see it played out in the game, but that's not what it does, and the only thing it does. That's just the way it manifests here. And so I think the black materia would theoretically do something more or other than just summoning a giant rock. And so I think it's just the way that the Gi, that their thoughts manifested, and when it turned it black, that maybe the way it works is that it ends up, that's what it does. But I would hazard a guess that the black materia could do something else if you wanted it to. I'm not sure, because there is a meteor materia. We've seen it, and it doesn't do that. I don't know. So I think what we just need to see now is that the Cetrans have their, well, they got the black materia, and to them now I think the Gi are almost irredeemable. And as the Gi said, the Cetrans are intolerant. And I think the Cetrans started off trying to, with a certain amount of sympathy for the Gi and trying to harmonize with them, and just either because of the black materia, things turned south, or the black materia turned black because things turned south, and the Gi didn't see any other way, and it just hardened them against the Cetrans. It's not really clear. I'm guessing that's our buddy Gi Natak right there. Now, I wonder if that's the black materia or if that's meteor represented there. I would suspect that that is the black materia. Just the way it's being presented.
The Black Materia shall summon the Destroyer of Worlds. The meteor shall fall, sundering the skies and shattering the earth. All life shall perish.
Yet I shall remain. I, son of Jenova, will at last claim my birthright. My dominion shall reach into infinity. It shall encompass worlds unbound by fate, and histories unwritten.
Worlds unbound by fate, histories unwritten. So this is not worlds as in other planets. It's other worlds in the life stream that are unbound by fate, which theoretically this world now is supposed to be not bound by fate because we beat up the Whispers. And history's unwritten. So, I mean, he's basically looking, I mean, it's not time compression like Ultimecia wanted, but it's doing away with time, practically. And that's one way of getting to infinity, I suppose. But see, Aerith's comments here. Now, here's interesting. Listen to her voice. With the live stream influence.
What do you mean?
She's got the echo there.
Mother. These errant worlds.
The argument I've seen someone say this, and I'm inclined to agree, obviously given my theories, is that is ultimate Aerith speaking through our Aerith, trying to learn more about what Sephiroth's goal is and what his actions are. Because, again, I think this whole thing started with Aerith, and I think Sephiroth tried to usurp Aerith's process for his own ends. Ultimate Sephiroth, that is. And so now we're seeing Ultimate Sephiroth sort of starting to explain his master plan. He's getting his little monologuing going on, like good villains do. And so now this is Ultimate Aerith trying to figure out what he's trying to do now that he has options available to him in rewriting fate and history. And so I think Ultimate Sephiroth took advantage of Aerith's mistake, for lack of a better term, and she kind of lost control of things. And now she's trying to figure out where he's going with this and what he's doing.
All shall be one again.
The reunion.
All made whole forever.
There's no such thing as forever.
And see, if Jenova can bring herself together again, I'm assuming the mechanism by which Sephiroth is looking to do this is combining the Genovas across different worlds and using her presence in the other worlds to draw them together in this grand reunion of worlds theory, which, in his view, will then draw everything back to give him the outcome that he wants. And I've seen that his goal is to destroy everything. I've seen that his goal is to just remake everything. It's not 100% clear. Yes, his goal is to draw the life stream through the meteor, draw the life stream in, absorb it all for himself, and become a god. What's the goal beyond that? Kind of unclear. If the end goal, because the other thing I've seen people suggest is that Aerith becomes the goddess and the Minerva figure in the end. If Aerith is at the point where the life stream gathers, is that how she would theoretically ascend to goddesshood? Maybe. If that's where they're going, that would make sense, is that she basically ends up taking Sephiroth's plan inadvertently, as the only way to stop him is to take it on herself. That's a possibility. Not sure I buy it, but it's a possibility.
But there will be.
No.
And
You're wrong.
now Ultimate Aerith is faded. Back to normal voice, no
Your
green
day
glow.
of reckoning is here. Yet, you need not be afraid.
It's a homecoming.
This is but a homecoming.
Get back here, damn it!
Okay, see you in a second when this is done.
Still alive. No
Down, boy.
homecoming for us today.
But I bought a boutonniere.
As if we were ever gonna lose, we're unstoppable.
Okay, and Clouderoth returns. Oh, they're all celebrating. The thing's still there.
Let me through.
Again, if you saw your friend haul off and jump on even a monster's head and just start sawing down on it, and then beating the living hell out of a wall to break through, kind of muted reactions. I mean, they're all very clearly worried for him, but I think it just goes, I mean, it further supports my theory that they are having these conversations about Cloud to talk like, okay, when he does stuff like this, don't freak out. Just, we'll take care of him. We'll make sure he doesn't hurt himself, but just chill. And they're standing back going, dude, what the... Okay, don't freak out here. And like, they have to hold themselves back in these moments, really. Now this part, I love the way they portray Cloud here. Because they got the laugh, they got everything perfect, a perfect portrayal given modern graphics in the story, and sound and everything else to portray what the little weirdness we got in OG7. Perfect. Little shoulder shake, everything. Now, this Black Materia looks different than the one we see at the very end. I think. Slightly. It's hard to tell.
Wait, what? What's happening?
Now where in the hell is he off to?
Run, giant, fluffy marshmallow Moogle. Imagine Kate says trying to navigate all those flippity-bippity upside-down things and get through here in a hurry. Not just now they have to hurry to get out of here.
Hey, watch it!
Sorry about that!
Come on.
Sung is scuffing up the toes of his shoes, I think. Plus, I'd like to point out, Kate runs faster by himself than when he's on that frickin' Moogle. He'd be going much faster if he was just a little kitty.
How come everything started shaking?
Let those who seek our star's demise find herein their rest. If the Black Materia is removed, the whole place comes down.
You're kidding, right? Please tell me that you're kidding!
Calm down. We just have to return it to the altar. Let go.
You first, kid.
It's too late! We can't stop it now. Besides, there's no point fighting over a fake.
No, you're trying to fool me.
But I'm no fool.
Damn it. Think we're screwed.
I'm back! Just in the nick of time!
You double-crossing.
Hold that thought!
I appreciate that the Moogle scans and check this out. I really think Kate right now, Kate needs to unsummon and resummon the Moogle though to
Run! While
get him
there's
some
still
more
time. Leave the heavy lifting
clearance
to
there
me.
under that rock.
For real?
Quit talking and go.
But what about you?
No need to fret about a bot like me. I wasn't even built to last. Ugh. I wish I hadn't skipped leg day. Can't you hold out
Maybe
for
it's just
long?
lighting why I think the
So
Black
run,
Materia looks
as if
different.
your lives depended on it.
Come. I have secured us an exit.
You secured an exit. We're the ones that fought everything getting here. What'd you do, Vincent?
We gotta move.
Hey, Cat. Appreciate it.
Off with you.
Thank you.
Now, from this point, I think someone pointed out, and I want to check, that from this point on, Cloud is always following Aerith. He never gets in front of her. I don't know if that's true or not. Let's see. Weird look on your face there, Cloud.
Still with us?
Slap him!
Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah, his face looks
Let's
real
go.
good there, doesn't it? So obviously, when you're waiting for her, waiting for her, waiting for her. Okay, now they're together. He never leaves her.
Shut up and run!
I feel terrible about the way we treated Kate. Me too.
Everybody else is running forward.
Back, though.
Cloud stops and stays with you. And he does seem to be staying behind Aerith. If I turn around. Still following, okay. Any of these changed in in the meantime. To get a red glow, that's for sure. Now red, of course, is the color we've associated with the Gi, and sort of the opposite of the green life-streamy Cetrans.
Thanks, Kate. You're welcome. Don't stop running. Please don't stop.
I had to stop and look at the pictures, Kate. Sorry.
Not sure. We're getting out of this one.
We can't let his death be in vain.
We won't. We're gonna make it.
But then,
We won't. He's coming back in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, what he said. Shut up and run, damn it!
Yeah, see, Cloud does always stay with Aerith, and he stays behind her. Right up until now, I think he gets in front of her.
Almost
Nope,
there.
he's still behind her.
Don't look back. It was a good run.
Barrett's wasted on long distance. He's built for sprinting, natural sprinting. Very dangerous over short distances.
You did what you could. The rest is up to them.
Now you have to wonder just how bad to feel about Kate's death here, because yes, the other Kate that shows up seems to share the memories and consciousness, but how alive was this Kate? And is it just a consciousness swap? We don't really know a whole lot about the process by which Reeve breathes Kate to life. Alright, now it's about to get nuts. Now see, in OG7, the temple itself was the Black Materia. So the question here is, does this transform and coalesce itself into the real Black Materia? Because something just, you know, dropped right there. And in OG, that would be where the actual Black Materia dropped, and then you climb down to retrieve it.
Now that's not a sight you see every day, eh?
but we saw you.
If I popped my clogs, they'd be sobbing in the streets at the saucer. This beautiful body's but one of many.
Welcome back.
All right, knock it off, you.
So, y'all get what you were after?
Irrelevant point, just it made me think of it. Have you ever seen The Prestige? And the, shall we go with the psychological question that revolves around Hugh Jackman's character? Which one is he? Something about that just reminds me of the way Kate and Kate are here. As far as, why is Kate's sacrifice mean anything if this is literally the exact same thing and the consciousness is transferred here, and so nothing actually died in that moment? Or was that really a living thing that had its life snuffed out that we should feel sorry about and sorry for? Then what's this?
Read the room, dude. Like, come on.
Excuse me, Yuffie. Let's see. It always struck me, like, at various times it looks like you can see something inside the middle of the Black Materia, like there's a smaller orb inside.
What's gotten into you? Didn't you hear what Aerith said?
Like right there you can kind of see it.
That's mine.
Fine.
And sometimes it just looks like a darker orb in the middle, and sometimes it honestly looks like there's the clear materia or something is in the inside. Like right there you can see that black blob in the middle there.
Sephiroth.
Okay, let's see here.
This is the key, which grants access to the true counterpart hidden between worlds.
So, I've seen the suggestion that the Gi created the real Black Materia, and that's what was hidden between worlds, and then this is just something that allows access to it, summons it, connects with it. I'm not really sure. I don't know, because I don't know why theirs would be the real one and this is just a fake, whether it didn't exist until the Gi summoned it into existence with, by corrupting the pure materia, and which would be a good reason to take it away from them, or if the Black Materia already existed between worlds as a possibility, and this is theirs, that the Cetrans just took away from them and then hid here at the temple. And the possibility of the Black Materia was always there, hidden between worlds, and then this is just, they gained access to it.
Give it back!
Whoa!
At last, the time has come.
This is opening up the connection between worlds. Whispers coming from between worlds. Arguably, Sephiroth's plot in this and his goal of advancing the destiny of this world getting stronger now, as he uses this to open up the rift between the worlds to bring in more dark whispers to enact his will.
The Black Materia.
What in the world is going on?
You haven't explained enough to me, Hojo.
Could it be? Has it finally begun?
Roche looking a bit worse for wear there.
We're losing altitude, sir! Head fast!
I appreciate that this Rufus seems to be slightly more in the know than OG 7 Rufus was, but he still clearly doesn't know all of what's going on. He needs better advisors.
Whispers?
No. Sephiroth.
Ultimate Sephiroth, arguably.
I'm waiting.
Now, if you try and stop this, Cloud just gets drunk and stumbles around and can't really do anything, and it just wastes its time, so I'm not going to bother. But if you watch what happens, and I think almost everybody's pointed this out at one point or another, Sephiroth doesn't touch the Black Materia, and when it coalesces and forms, it falls right through his hand, or past his hand, I forget which off the top of my head, but it requires, for some reason, Cloud to hand it to him. I'm not entirely sure why. And I think any explanation of that is speculative. I don't know if there is a definitive explanation for why Cloud has to be the one to hand it to him. Let me know, but I haven't seen anything specifically pointed out. So here it is. It forms. I can't really tell if that went through his hand or just fell right in front of his hand. I think it fell in front of his hand. It's really hard to see there. So, that one is lit up. That center ball in it is lit up. So
Bring it to me.
maybe that's the difference between the fake and the real. Is just this one seems a bit more alive in the middle.
Aerith, please.
Cloud! Snap out of it!
Yes, Cloud. Snap out of it.
He looked off.
I can't let you have this.
You said that now, Aerith. No, the whisper's just preventing her from getting too far away.
If she won't give it to us, we must take it.
Now preventing Tifa from getting to him, so the whisper's still doing their job of helping fate along, but specifically the fate that Sephiroth wants now.
Aerith!
They did a good job of making Cloud creepy here, especially the Aerith.
Let's talk.
Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle.
Aerith.
That almost sounded like Cloud doing a Sephiroth impersonation. Like different... His voice inflections are all over the place.
Let's save the planet together. Aerith!
That one. Now, what are these things we're standing on is one question I have.
The orb. Aerith.
Whatever happens, I'm here for you.
Which is very close to what Cloud said to Aerith back on the beach about being there for her no matter what.
Thank you.
Now, someone pointed out that I had not thought about this in Remake. When that moment comes that he was just remembering, the Whispers are attacking Aerith and keeping her there. Well, the reason they had to keep her there is because Sephiroth delayed Cloud with his visions of fire and brimstone and quoting his dead mother at him. And so the Whispers had to intervene to keep Aerith there long enough for Cloud to come along, notice her, and go interact with her. And so that was the part of their whole keeping the timeline on, which then begged the question of, was at that point Sephiroth trying to stop Cloud from meeting Aerith and trying to throw fate off at that point? And it's possible. I mean, that we don't know exactly Sephiroth's goals all the way along. If he tried this, didn't work, tried that, didn't work, tried this, didn't work, okay, now we're going to go with this one to make the outcome that he wanted. And it could be layered, try to stop them from meeting, at the same time start driving Cloud toward negativity and, you know, this goal that I've been saying that Sephiroth has. If he never meets Aerith, that maybe means he's got more influence, that Sephiroth has more influence over Cloud without Aerith being around. Could just be coincidence. Could be he wasn't trying to stop Cloud from meeting Aerith, he was just starting the process and either trusting that the Whispers would keep things on track for a while, or wasn't really worried about it. So I don't know. I don't buy that he was trying to stop the two of them from meeting and change fate that way. I think that's too easy, obviously, for the Whispers to take care of. There are a couple other things where Sephiroth seems to be trying to screw with fate, such as stabbing Barrett. But it's hard to say specifically that he's trying to break fate by changing certain events, because the Whispers seem to just step in, fix things, and make everything the way it's supposed to be. The only people who seem to be really succeeding in any way of screwing with fate is us. Which, again, I think comes back to Cloud being the linchpin. For that half second, she's like, I found the real Cloud. And then, ka-chomp.
Almost there.
Okay, that wraps up chapter 13. Bit of a weird chapter, just in that it's so much action, 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 with little bits of Cloud's mental decline into insanity sprinkled in, little bits here and there, and then suddenly you get to the end of the chapter and it's just lore dump. And they haven't really done a whole lot of that sort of thing so far. And it makes sense, because it really does. It finally gives us some information and explains a lot of things and raises more questions about other things, and it really does a good job of sort of setting things up for the end of the game, which still leaves us with oh so many questions. And I mean, it's penultimate chapter, so it's doing its job well, I think. But anyway, this will end off this section of videos, and the next will obviously be chapter 14, and wrapping everything up and presenting all of the rest of my theories and insanity of my own. So thank you for joining me. Hope everybody's having a great day. Please like this video and the others in the series. If you didn't watch the previous chapters, I encourage it, not for the likes and such, but mainly for getting the explanations and the thoughts and everything else that have built up to get me where I am now in my thought process. Because if you have watched any of them, you can see where what I think about certain things and what I've discovered and learned have evolved over the course of this story mode series. And it did not end where I thought it would. I'm not where I thought I would be in my thinking about the game and the plot and the characters. Not where I started this process at. And so you can kind of see where some of the stuff that I'm going to come up with in the next chapter of story, how I got here, really. So anyway, so I encourage you to watch it just for that, and please discuss in comments anything that strikes your fancy, anything I missed, anything you saw, anything that you agree with, disagree with, that you question. I really want the discussion on this if anybody has anything to say about what's going on. So, but anyway, please like, subscribe if you're not already, so you can get more notifications of content. And hopefully I will see you in the next series of videos for chapter 14 as we start to wrap up just what in the hell is going on here. So thank you. Hope everybody's having a great day.